Hello everyone, this is James Shore with another test-driven development video. I am picking up where I left off, still struggling mightily with the problems of getting the text field to render itself the way I want it to. Right now, what I'm working on is having this automatically change colors when I change the from a negative to a positive. And when we left off in the last episode, we had left off with it breaking horribly. So I'm going to do a little refactoring. I'm going to rename this to be the reformat text render target adapter. And I'm going to make another one called don't reformat text. No reformat text render target adapter, which, yeah, I don't know if that's a great name, but it is what it is. There we go. And now if I use that here, it will still fail because I didn't actually take out this space intentionally left blank. C D. It's no reformat text. Okay, so I'm being a little too cute there. What's going to happen is I'm going to rename this class, and that poor excuse for a joke will no longer make sense. But I'm going to leave it in anyway, so, you know, there we go. Okay, so our test is passing. Let's take a closer look at what's going on here, because this is weird. So I'm testing that the field is reformatting when it loses focus. That is actually the same code as this. We're testing that the same code is running, so I think I can take this out. Yeah. We're saying that the field is not reformatted when it loses focus, but the value is invalid. Or rather, I should say, field text is not reformatted when field loses focus and value is invalid. But we are saying that the field color is rendered by the domain class when the text changes, even if it hasn't lost focus. Right, so that's all working the way it's supposed to. Yeah, and the way we're implementing this here is incredibly verbose. But really quite simple. We're just saying it's just an adapter, takes in the field, and sets text and is a target for the underlying dollars object to render onto. So we say $.render and then pass in that adapter. And the dollars will say, okay, well, here's the text, here's the foreground color, and so forth. Okay, so let's see if this actually works the way I think it will. So if I change this to a minus, right now it should turn red. Oh, it does. Look at that. That's so cool. Okay, and then that's illegal, so it's not going to reformat it. That is going to reformat it. You know, looking at this, dealing with the reformatting is kind of a pain in the butt. It really is. Because if I want to change this from minus 10,000 to, say, 20,000, I've got to go in and change both of those parentheses. I'm not sure. Yeah, see, trailing parenthesis is considered negative. So let's change the behavior, and that will clean things up a fair amount. We don't have to worry about what I'm thinking about doing here is never reformatting the text. And if we do that, we don't have to have this test anymore because we don't care about it. And we don't have to do this anymore because we just wanted to do that. We'll say field is rendered by domain class when text changes, even if it hasn't lost focus. And we'll say it should change to red, but we'll also say it should not change text. So the text should still be -10. It shouldn't be re-rendered as a funky parenthesis thing. And we'll put some spaces in there to emphasize that point. And that, I think, will pass because that's the behavior we have right now, which is great. Now we can get rid of this. And we can get rid of this. And all we have left is that. And this actually should be private. See how that goes. Great, great. Cool beans. So now we can change this from negative to positive, and it will just keep on working. Yeah, and it's not reformatting it, which is a little weird in some cases, but I think just generally preferable. Yeah. I don't know, I might change my mind on that again at some point in the future, but I'm pretty happy with that now. Okay, so there we go. That's the same as the to-do I've already got in there. I've got to do this icon. We've got this command pattern stuff. Let's go ahead and move that up. I also had a note, also from Mikael, or however you pronounce your name, again, I apologize, in that if I type in not a number into that field, it thinks it's okay. Yeah, it thinks it's 0. So I need to make sure that that's illegal. And that should be pretty easy to fix. We can just go into, let's see what Mikael say. Well, it says if I create not a number, then it fails, and I'm not worried about that. That's not something I expect to have happen, but it is an issue that I can go into, I can just type it in as a string. So let's go fix that. That would be in what, $test? Oh yeah. Let's see. I really don't want it to contain any letters at all. Is there any way of checking that? There probably is, but I can't see it right now, so just going to do that. that leaves the door open for another type of error down the road, but in a way I'd like to have an explicit test around those sorts of things anyway. There we go, that's fixed. Okay, so next up, we've got this duplication of how that document listener stuff works. And I think what I'd like, so here we've got add document listener, and all these things do is they listen for any sort of change whatsoever and then call a function. And here we're doing the same thing. Any sort of change whatsoever, call a function. So I'd like to have a generic method on $text field that says on text change, do something. That shouldn't be too hard to do. But I think, but unfortunately because Java doesn't support anonymous functions, just anonymous classes, it's going to require working around Java a bit. Let's see, how do we want to write it? First we'll write a test for this and then we'll code it. So how do we do that? So I think can retrieve amount. Let's say that we want it to, we can set, let's see, what's that function name going to be called? It's going to be called change on text change. So can call function when text changes. So we need to be able to set up the function, which will require us to implement a little class similar to what we're doing here. So I guess a runnable would be appropriate. Where is the runnable located? Okay. I'm going to just pause for a moment and research this, and I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. As I suspected, there's no common way of doing anonymous functions in Java. I think the best way to do this would be for me to expose an interface on $text field rather than trying to go with something completely generic, because there is no really generic solution to this because different functions are going to want different arguments passed into them. So I'll expose an interface on $text field that expresses exactly how I expect this to work, and we'll take it from there. So I think what I want to say is I want to say field dot on text change. Come on, swing. It's Eclipse, actually. It's going through all of the swing stuff first until it sends. Come on, there we go. On text change, we're going to want to pass in a new, we're going to pass in a change listener of some sort. So that's what we're going to do next. We're out of time for this episode, so thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.